Great.
We can
All
do
right.
multiple takes if we need.
No, I just feel like I'm nervous that you're seeing me. Like I'm just feeling nervous.
This is very vulnerable for you.
Yeah,
It's
it feels
behind the
vulnerable.
curtain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sneak
For
peek.
sure.
Yeah. Okay. My volume's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, Lara, sometimes when you talk sideways, you get some feedback. And so I want to make sure I meant to tell you that.
Okay,
Yeah.
noted. Thank you.
I'm meaning to say it in the kindest way possible.
Yeah.
She waited until we were recording so that everyone could hear it too.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fuck Wellness. I'm Makena.
I'm Mallory.
And I'm Lara.
And today we have a very fun and special guest. And I'm going to let him introduce himself here to talk about masculinity. I just got nervous again about your name, so I'm just going to fire it off right now. Okay. Casey Quinlisk is here on the pod.
You got
it.
Woo! Yeah. Nice, Ken.
Thanks. I'm just only a little bit red.
Very red, in fact.
Thanks,
Quinlisk.
Yeah.
Quinlisk. I was having a really hard time saying the word Q this weekend. How did I say it, McKenna?
Okay, so when you sent me your Instagram,
oh yeah,
I showed Lara, and Lara read your name instead of Q, read your name as like QUE, like forgot
Q yo
how Q is spelled.
What?
And I just said Q.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
Spell.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Casey, tell us about yourself.
Give us an intro.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, my name's Casey. People usually call me Q as well. It's a lot easier to say than my last name. Born and raised Denver, Colorado. Moved around quite a bit. Went to school up in Fort Collins. Studied what's called industrial and organizational psychology after trying my pursuit of broadcasting and trying to be a sports writer, journalist.
I can hear it. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, for sure.
Pursued it since my voice dropped in 9th grade. Summer from 8th grade to 9th grade it dropped. So middle school, 8th grade was squeak rough.
What did it sound like before?
I don't know if I can get that high anymore, but it was
you just don't have the breath.
It was very squeaky. Rough. But pursued that for a little bit. Decided after meeting with a lot of the people on 9 News, they told me stay clear, don't touch it, don't go anywhere near it.
Really?
So I decided.
Why do you think they said that?
They told me so. I met with the weatherman, and he told me be ready to wake up at 2 a.m. every day to go cover high school water polo for 10 years. And then maybe you'll get a big break eventually. So he's like, it's not worth it. The money's not worth it. The hate emails you get are not worth it. It's like, all right, well, I'm not going to do that then. So there's always been a dream to do that. And hopefully just someone recognizes my voice one day. It's just like, yeah, let's bring him on. Let's bring him up to be new Bob Costas and just travel around and do the Olympics. And that'd be sweet. But
so this podcast is kind of the perfect opportunity for you.
This is my big break.
We found you.
This is my big break. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. We actually bring a lot of people on the podcast and then they get big.
Yeah.
So I mean,
is that what all that? Yeah. That's what
one
that
of
contract
many.
I signed before was all about the royalties.
Yes.
Okay,
Exactly. Exactly.
We only talk about that off there, though.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, we're gonna definitely have to cut that part out.
cut that.
Okay, so the elephant in the room is that you two are recording together from the same place.
What did I say would be the first question?
Yeah.
Tell us more about that.
Me.
No, that was to McKenna. McKenna, you're allowed to answer that as well.
It was interesting. I was driving around Boulder one day in my thoughts, podcast listening to music. I saw a really pretty girl walking down the street, so I crumpled up a piece of paper and just whipped it out and said, "Call me." And all she did was flip me off. And I was like, all right.
This sounds very true. Yeah.
Oh man.
That's not a real story at all.
But it could be.
It sounds
could.
Real. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
wow.
Tell us the real story.
The real story is that we met on Hinge And we talked about chapstick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Oh,
about
yeah.
it?
You know what? This really fits into a masculinity theme because I will say you did fall for my trap a little bit because the
Great.
chapstick comment, I swear, makes men lose their minds.
Yeah, it's a litmus test for sure.
Yeah, and like I'll either get bullied or be appreciated.
Wait, what is the question?
Because I just said I finish all my chapsticks, which is true.
This
I
is one
finished-
on your dating app.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I finish all my chapsticks.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's what we talked about first.
And how did Casey feel about that?
I asked how that's possible because
Yeah.
there's not a chance in hell anyone could do that.
Yes, there is though. I do. I
Yeah, I
finish
know.
every single
There's.
one.
I still don't.
Look
believe
it, I'm getting close to the end of this one.
That's not the end.
It's gonna finish though. I'm gonna finish it.
Okay,
Mine goes in the
so
dryer.
feel
Well, mine
like
don't.
I feel like for context, Makena, is
Yeah.
this the man that you were talking about a few weeks ago on the pod?
Oh yeah. Can I say that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are no rules here. This is
Yeah.
yours podcast.
You're right.
Because
Thanks
I
for
have
reminding
been
me.
getting some questions about how it's been going, and I feel like this
Have
is the
you?
best update pod ever. Actually, specifically, just my dad asked.
Thank you,
But,
Ed. It is
Our biggest fan.
But I feel
Yeah.
like he's representative of the population, you know?
You're right.
So
You're right. Yep. Yeah.
So it's going well, is what I'm hearing.
We're having a great time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're making soup. So
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're making
That's
soup
really
tonight.
serious.
just
We're
love
chefing.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, that was my question. Lara, you're up.
Oh, God.
Okay. I'm being put on the spot right now.
Okay,
Did
obvious
you guys
questions that we've asked everyone.
Did you guys
No,
see
No,
my
I'm not
email?
ready. I'm not ready to dive in. I still want to chatty chat. Wait, what's your email?
Let's chat.
The email that you just said you weren't ready to dive in, but I sent like email with real questions.
Yeah, I saw them. Yeah.
Great.
I did not. So
Lara probably doesn't even know how to log into the Generation 3 Girls email.
Don't say that. That's so mean. I absolutely do when my computer remembers the password.
Yeah.
I absolutely do, everyone. Casey, how do you feel about spiders?
We just were talking
Yeah,
about
that's
this
crazy.
30 minutes ago.
I'm not a fan of spiders. I'm not going to seek spiders out ever. But if I see one, I'm not that scared of them either.
Do we kill them or put them outside?
Well, you try and put them outside, depending
Yeah.
on what's happening. But if it runs at you, then no, it's dead for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, there
If
is a
you-
dried up.
Go ahead.
Oh, this wasn't an actual question. This was a, hey, I have something for you to do after this.
I'm like, hey, can you come into this room from that room? No, there's just like a dried up spider on my desk that's been here for a while. So,
Dried up spider.
yeah, it's dried up.
Oh.
It's really thirsty, dehydrated.
All its legs are like crumpled inside of itself.
Okay, Casey, if you could be any spice or condiment or herb, what?
That's so many options.
Well,
Really
like
good
topping, like a topping, a thing you put on something. What would you be?
This is a big question because Casey's a chef.
Ooh. I get the soup now.
I think this is a really hard question. My mind is racing.
He's like, I wasn't nervous until just now.
Yeah, now I'm really nervous.
I prepped everything about masculinity, but nothing about
Not cooking.
spices.
Yeah. Honestly, there's like can I have multiple answers?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Like if I could be like a herb, it would be sage for sure.
Oh, and the color is great.
Yeah, great color. But I just made like brown butter gnocchi with sage in it too, and that was phenomenal.
Wholesome content.
So sage. So my aunt, they have a new dog. Well, not new now, but when they got this dog, they named their dog Sage because my uncle had a poem from when he was like in middle school or something about how sage is such a special spice.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
That's an herb, but yeah.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Spice, I think paprika. That is something you can put on everything. You got sweet, you got heat, you got it all. It adds great color to things when you sear it as well. Phenomenal. Which Makena's never had paprika.
I've had paprika. I'm saying I've never cooked with it.
That's not what your text said.
Yeah, yes, it is.
Wow. Tell us the truth, Makena.
Oh man. Also, follow-up question to this that we also were just talking about a little bit ago. What kind of cookie do you think you guys would be?
Snickerdoodle. Is that boring?
I see that. No, I see that. Wow.
That's not boring. A hot take.
I feel like I'm like pretty basic, but then I have like a little bit of cinnamon in me, you know?
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I got.
All I can think of, the only cookie I have in my brain to imagine is a cookie I had last night. It was peanut butter, like shaped to look like a boobie, like a peanut butter boobie cookie.
Oh, like one with a Hershey's Kiss in the middle.
Yeah.
I was thinking M&M cookie for you, Lara.
That's what I was thinking too.
What?
I thought M&M. That was
Oh my gosh.
the same
you guys think
level.
I'm silly, don't you?
Yeah. I don't know. It's just like quirky and cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you want to hear ours?
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
moving. Is this what you thought the podcast was going to be?
No.
We're gonna get there.
We're gonna get into it. We have depth.
Yeah.
We have to start off light first.
He's listened. He knows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have listened.
Yeah.
Okay, what are your cookies?
Go for it.
Ooh.
Casey thinks he's a chocolate chip cookie.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I honestly saw peanut butter. I have a peanut butter feeling.
Ken has a peanut butter feeling.
Yeah.
And what about you, Ken?
Sugar cookie. That's what I said.
Ken, I feel like you're giving me like molasses.
Oh, I like gingerbread cookies.
Kind of. What are they called when they're like molasses cookies?
No, I actually love those cookies.
I love them.
Yeah,
and
they're good. Not the hard ones though.
No, soft.
They have to be soft.
That's what I think about you.
Yeah.
I feel like Makena's a sugar cookie, but like in the middle would be like some cayenne pepper. Like it would be like there's like a lot of spice.
Like that sounds really
good.
delicious, actually. Sounds yucky.
Yeah, no. Yeah. It's not, you wouldn't want to eat it, but you definitely want to be around it, you know?
That's Makena. That's our girl.
Some people for sure, but
oh god.
Okay.
All right. Let's move on.
Moving on.
Masculinity. I am a bad podcast host. I don't have this pulled up right now.
Okay, well, let's just start with our most basic question of like, I mean, we've had a few different guests answer this, so I'm curious what your thoughts are, but like, what does masculinity even like mean to you? Or like when you hear that term, what's the first thing you think of?
Talk with my friends and my dad actually a lot about this. And
you had consultants.
Yeah, I did. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I live in a very therapy heavy house, so we do a lot of talking.
We love that.
Masculinity, the word itself, I feel like it's a bad rap right away, because when you hear the word masculinity, typically the word toxic is right around the corner from that. So I think there's certain parts of masculinity that are absolutely necessary in a man's life to become who he needs to be, but also there are parts that can become way too much very, very quickly if not taught in a correct way. Kind of vague answer, but
how do you feel like you were taught the tenets of masculinity?
I was taught from a very young age about how to treat people right. My mom taught me very early on, from like when we were going out to lunch, dinner, stores, whatever it is, you hold the door open for me. This is why you're holding the door open. There was always a big why behind everything. So it's not just do this because I told you, but do this. And these are the 3 reasons why you need to be practicing this. I got to watch my dad be an incredibly patient person with me, my brother, and my mom about anything and everything. He told me he had anger issues when I was a kid. I don't remember those at all. All I remember is him displaying a lot of empathy, a lot of fairness. When he would make a mistake, he would tell me he made a mistake, why he made the mistake, what he's doing to fix that in the future. So anytime I made a mistake, it was now I'm accountable for this. This is what happened. This is how I'm moving forward. So it was not only just taught pretty early on, but displayed by both my parents throughout my whole life.
I feel like that's such a, I had never thought about this as like a really important part of like teaching tiny humans about how to become big, good humans is like apologizing to them.
Yeah.
Like as an adult being like, hey, like I need to apologize for that. Like that was not cool on my part. Whereas like, I don't know, it's like, it's hard. I don't know why that was such like a mind-blowing idea to me to like have earnest apologies with your children. Like I love that. And I agree that like you, it makes obvious sense. Like, of course you would, because you're teaching them how to be like you and how to be good and how to do what you're supposed to do. But yeah, I don't know. I just think like, I think that you're right that like masculinity has so many different ways of being taught. And I think for you, like, huge kudos to your parents because like you're just such a kind human. And like I feel like I've like barely really hung out with you that much, but like the times that I have, I'm just like, what the fuck is happening? Like it's so nice to be around because there's no need for anyone to ever be not nice. Like ever. And people are always, I don't know, I just feel like I am around a lot, not around, but like I hear a lot of stories about people being not nice or people not being nice to me at work and stuff. And I'm like, why are you wasting your breath being not nice? I wish I had a question, but that was just a statement.
No, I have a thing. One thing, sorry, I moved this so it can be closer to you, but we'll have to move back and forth. So one thing about the apologizing is I do that with my team a lot is I made like a huge mistake last week, like big time mistake that really like messed up some of my plans and impacted the athletes in a not so great way. And I was like, I'm really sorry. I messed up. Like, I can't get you the playing time right now. Like, I screwed up the lineup essentially. And it's always interesting to me to see people's reactions or their reactions because like they're not really used, I think, to adults apologizing to them or just like really full stop taking accountability of like, this was 100% my mistake. Like, and, you know, we lost the game, like very well could have been because of my mistake. Like, those sorts of things are hard to do, but I think they're important to do because I don't know, like you don't owe a kid any less respect than you owe an adult. Like I think that's a silly way to think about things.
When it goes back to the concept that we talked about a while ago, Ken, where it's like viewing a child as your equal rather than them being like less than you. And I think the apologizing, like I think most adults don't think about apologizing to kids because they view like their role as the mentor to the child rather than, oh, I can also learn things from children. Like my parents are always telling me how much they learned from me as a kid, but that like means a lot because I feel like it reminds you as a kid that you also have things to give and provide and
you're not just like you're not just empty until you're 18.
Like I mean, and I think that's true. And it feels really good to have adults around you who can validate that like you have more worth than just being like a growing human.
Can you tell the story about how you figured out what empathy is?
What's that story?
When you asked your mom. Do you remember telling me that?
No.
I'm kind of throwing it on you.
Makena, it sounds like you have to tell the story.
Yeah, I don't.
No, okay. So I don't know. One of the times you were telling me, and correct me if I get the details wrong.
Okay.
But basically, Casey was saying how when he was like in elementary school.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Do you want to tell it?
No.
Okay.
Yes, no.
When he was in elementary school, I want to do the story justice. Like I have to think about how to.
Great.
Okay, thank you. Basically, like he went to his mom, and your mom's a therapist. Can we say that?
Yeah.
And he was like, asked his mom, like, what does it mean that I can like feel other people, like what they are feeling, and like, I can put myself in their shoes.
I'm literally, I feel like I'm in their shoes.
Yeah. So, and what does that mean? And his mom, I know, and his mom was like,
what does that mean?
That is empathy. It's called empathy, and that's a really good thing.
Now it feels weird. I don't like it.
But like, I don't know, who has a discovery story of when they figured out what empathy is? Like, I think that's fun.
Not I.
I think most kids are not feeling that. Or maybe they're feeling it, but really not acknowledging it or like allowing themselves to feel that.
Yeah.
I think that's very unique.
Why do you think that you were like, I don't like this?
It was, emotions for me, like, because I didn't get to see a lot of the hard emotions growing up, it was a very calm, relaxing house. So like we didn't get to see a lot of the anger or sadness a whole lot. So like when I got to see someone be really angry or super sad, it was like, this is different from what I know. So I'm not really comfortable with what's happening. I don't know how I'm supposed to be reacting to that, especially anger. That was a big one. I don't, because I didn't get to see it at all. So seeing it from another person or potentially something I caused, it didn't add up in my head.
How do you feel like you are with them now?
Much better. Years of therapy have definitely helped a lot. I used to stifle anger in myself and partners and friends, and like try and fix any potential situation where someone was being angry and try and put it on me or provide a solution that they didn't need. And I learned not too long ago that it's like part of the human experience to really see and feel every emotion possible. So like you should be feeling anger, you should be feeling sadness, just so you can really get a better idea of like what we're supposed to be doing here.
I feel like I had a similar upbringing where it was like everything was like we keep saying this word and we probably have to stop, but it's like we were chillers. Like the Vanderbilt household was like,
we've been saying that so much this weekend because we had crazy dogs in our house.
Yeah, we were telling the crazy dogs to be chillers, but like it was just like chilling. Like we were like, we grew up and like we would have small fights. I would fight my brother about like food, but like I feel like until I became an adult, I did not know what anger felt like inside of my body. And then when I felt it, I was like, this feels disgusting. Get it out of me. Like, I hate it. I will feel anything else besides anger. And I just think it's like very funny that like I met you during this time when I've been like very angry at the world. And I've just been dealing with that, and it's funny to honestly like meet someone who you're like, this is like this person is super cool. I want them to like think I'm cool too, but I'm like dealing with some weird shit inside of myself, and I feel like it's maybe made me seem a little bit up and down all over the place. But I agree. And like feeling like, I don't know, I'm trying to describe, you're right that like feeling every emotion is like such a part of the human experience, but for some reason angry, like the feeling of angry in myself, it's like, well, tell me whose fault it is and then it'll get out of my body. Whereas like that's not how it works. Sadly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the same way. I've always found it really hard to feel anger, and it just like is very, I mean, I do feel like there is somewhat of a like gender component to it. I do feel like it is a bit more normalized for men to display anger or like to like outwardly express it than I feel like I have been. Like I feel like whenever I have felt anger at all, it was just like it was not something that I ever wanted to feel, or especially did not want to express. Like I did not want to express anger ever because I was afraid of like looking or appearing like I was overreacting to a situation. And I feel like I've been hyper aware of that reaction. But my parents are both very calm people who don't have big reactions to anything. So it's I feel like I'm still like I really cannot tell you a time that I've been like legitimately angry for more than like 5 minutes. Like I really I don't know. It's so weird to think about. It's like an emotion I avoid at all costs. And I think that there's maybe long-term detriments to me not allowing myself to feel that.
We'll see.
I too have been in therapy for quite a long time to talk about that, but so far haven't gotten too far on that one, but other things. Okay, my like question though,
really fast though, can I say something about anger? Is I feel like
that you're so good at feeling anger. Is that what you're about to say?
No. Do you guys think I'm an angry person?
No, but I think you're much better at like allowing yourself to feel angry.
Yeah. Well, to me, anger, there's always something underneath anger. I think there's very rarely, anger feels to me like a protecting emotion, and it feels like it's obviously worth feeling, and it's important because anger usually means like a cross boundary of some sort in my life. But like, I don't know. I think before this weekend, I probably would have had a different perspective, but like this last weekend, I was so frustrated with the dogs that I have felt like more anger in my body than I felt in a very long time. But I think it's a good thing because I think that these are feelings that would come out of my body in one way or the other, and they need to come out. I'd rather have them come out in a situation with dogs where I can like have some space to process, because I just spent 3 days being deeply uncomfortable, and I recognize that it was about the dogs, but there's like other things I think that need to be processed in that as well.
No, Ken, I've always been so envious of your ability to feel emotion. Like I know that it's pros and cons. Like I know that it's not always rainbows and butterflies for you when you feel emotion, but I feel like I'm sometimes surprised by like how little I feel when things happen. Like I expect that I should feel more. And then I talk to you and I'm like, oh my God, Makena's feeling everything so deeply. And it's like a part of me like wishes I could feel things as deeply as you do. Because sometimes it feels like I'm like missing out on the spectrum of emotion. Like even I think about like when big like natural disasters happen or like big societal things, and I'm like, I don't really feel like I feel some sadness or like I feel an appropriate emotion, but like I just don't feel it in the way that I feel like I should feel it, and then I feel really guilty that I don't feel as much.
One, there's no reason to feel guilty. I think that
I know that rationally.
Okay, but just to like clarify, and two, like I think that a level of feeling that sometimes I operate at is pretty unsustainable, and sometimes makes my life very difficult.
Yeah, but I think it is also a beautiful thing that you have.
Yeah, I think it's one of the things I appreciate and am grateful for the most about myself, but it definitely comes with a lot, as you guys are well aware.
Yes, fully aware. Okay, my question for Casey though is, it sounds like you have had quite a few people in your life that you can like talk these things out with, and like talking about masculinity that you can like get a second opinion on. And I sense that is like somewhat unique. So could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. Like Makena said earlier, my mom's a therapist, so talking was always a must. in my house and just expressing how you're feeling about certain situations, why you're feeling certain situations. My dad was really good at it too. He's excuse me, he's a physical therapist, so anything mind or body was always talked about and is explained a different way. And I remember from a very early age my dad asking me, it's like, do you think you would go to a doctor if like you hurt your leg or you had a headache? It's like, yeah, probably. He's like, well, it's the same thing mentally. If you're feeling off, feeling sad, you should go talk to somebody about it. So I did that. I remember just going to a therapist. Nothing was that wrong, but just like expressing how I was feeling and just really being as vulnerable as I can. And I was lucky enough to grow up with friends, some of them who I've known since kindergarten, still friends with them. So it's been like a good ride to just be as vulnerable as I can be with them. And when I get to express that vulnerability, typically they send it right back. And it turns into a big emotional talking till 4 a.m. mess with my friends. And it's the best feeling in the world, knowing that you have a bunch of people around you to support you no matter what. And to be honest with y'all, I was not very good at being vulnerable myself the last 3 to 4 years. It really kind of like took a halt for not sure what reason was, but it's really started to kick back up again in the last 6-7 months of being vulnerable as I possibly can. And I've just noticed relationships start to flourish more. My work has improved tremendously and like everything about it. So I think being blessed to have the friends and family that I did, where everything is talked about and there's no judgment, kind of no matter what you're saying. It's just like it's welcomed with open arms, is very, very lucky to have in my life.
Do you remember the type of stuff that you talked about early on in therapy, like when you started at the very beginning?
Yeah.
Like what were some general themes that came up?
Why am I here? What is the point of this? There's a lot of, I'm just like, I don't get it. I don't know if I feel like there were times where like I would go to therapy and like, this is like middle school, middle school. And I'm sitting there. It's like, I don't feel like I have anything to talk about. So like, I'm just like, do I have to force something I need to be sad about? And I would try and find something in my life that like I'm sad about or angry about or whatever it is. And like try and talk about that. But there was oftentimes it was related to academic stress or sports related stress. Like I feel like I'm not living up to my standards, my parents' standards as an athlete or in school. That's usually what it was about.
It's so interesting because I feel like I don't know that many people who have. You been in therapy continuously from like middle school until now? Yeah,
pretty much.
How has that been in your life to have that there the whole time? Because I know a lot of people who like, go intermittently, but I'm curious about like the evolution of starting it in middle school and still doing it today.
Yeah. I've had a lot of absolutely phenomenal therapists, and my current therapist is the best one I've ever had. But I've also had a lot of therapists that just like didn't work at all. Yeah. So I think from such an early age, knowing that both my parents told me, it's like, no matter what's going on in your life, you should be pursuing therapy, just for an objective opinion, just for something that you can use as a crutch whenever needed. And that way you don't have to rely on a partner or friends or us for anything, for every single thing emotionally that you need. Like you have someone else there that you can rely on. So the evolution of it really helped a lot, going from middle school. It's like finding a lot of value and purpose in it and going with things that just like I can throw out there. And even if something's going well, I can talk about it. It's like, this is what's going really well. And we can be able to find some patterns about why it's going well. So having that second voice in there who like, I like to think of it as it's like someone who really could not care less about what's happening in your life, but they're there to help you out. And it's like, you can't ask for more an objective opinion than that. Like everyone's got some kind of bias, and they hopefully truly do not have any bias at all. Like they're going to give their objective opinion. And that's what I really need, is like that very direct, this is what I think, this is why I think that. And it really helps me out a lot.
What makes your current therapist the best?
She is the definition of blunt. It is phenomenal. So I can go in there, and anytime I lean back or I cross my arms or anything, she's like, "Oh, what's going through your head right now?" Like, don't even think about it. Just tell me. And I'll tell her an idea I have about anything. And she's just like, I don't really like that idea at all. I think that's kind of dumb. I think this is what's going to happen. It's like, I like that. It's like, that's what I need.
I would cry.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Like, the more the
I
merrier.
would cry too.
Like that I need that directness. And I told her from the get, like as soon as I sat down my first visit with her, I was like, I need very direct, confrontational, like challenge my ideas, because that's what's going to help me grow. And she does that.
Damn.
I feel like that really reminds me that there are therapists out there for everyone. Because I definitely feel like, I mean, I guess there are, I think every therapist needs to be challenging in some way. Like, I think that's important, but yeah, I think everyone needs it's like everyone needs a different coach, like in a sport. Like, I never responded well to getting yelled at by my coach, but I did really well if they were like, wow, great job, nice try. So I think we all value different things. I wasn't very good at any sports though, so I never really got to try them out, but anyway.
What was it like when you were like a child? Would your mom want to be like, Casey, let's like sit down and chat? Would you ever be like, Mom, I don't want to talk. Like, it's all too much talking. I feel like if I had a therapist as a parent, the like parents in general in my mind, like it's a lot of like, what do the parents think? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of that. And then me as a child, I was always like, take that, and like, that's not me. So like how I'm just like, I love that you weren't like that. I don't know.
Did you ever rebel against it?
Yeah, that rebelling is what I'm saying.
Yeah, there were times where like I would come home from school and like I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to do anything. I want to go into my room and be myself. And typically when I would get home, like I'd go to school all day, homework, soccer practice. So I was like 8 or 9 p.m. by the time I'm like back. And there would be many times where my mom would be like, how's your day? Let's talk about it. And I'd be like, I don't really want to talk about it. My mom is honestly, I got to talk about her at work the other day. It's like one of my heroes for sure. She's just phenomenal. It's like, if I told her I didn't want to talk about it, she'd be like, okay, let me know when you're ready. So the rebelling didn't work because she's too emotionally intelligent. So she just like, she was thinking
she's
3
like,
or
I'm
4
smarter
steps ahead.
than you.
Yeah. She's like, so it never really had a chance, but like eventually my parents would, if I didn't want to talk about it then, they would start to coax it out of me and like shoot me a text the next morning and be like, hey, I was thinking about you last night. Let me know when you want to discuss what's going on. And then I would pretty quickly.
Damn.
So there wasn't a lot of like, I wasn't a rebellious child. I didn't really get a chance to because my parents were, their EQ was too high. So.
That's funny. Do you feel like, I want to talk more about you and your friends because I think that
was going to be my next question.
Just like such a unique, great dynamic. Do you feel like you all as a group are like aware of how unique and lucky your connection is, or do you not feel like it like really?
We didn't know. We had
Wow.
no idea. So to give listeners some context, I've grown up with a core group of friends, some of them since kindergarten, a lot of them since we met in high school. And I remember a lot of people saying, it's like, you're going to meet amazing people and like forget about your high school friends. You're going to forget about all these people. And I did meet amazing people in college and at work and everything, but my core group has always been the same. And one of my roommates is dating this girl now, and she said the same thing. She's like, I don't like, how is this possible that you all have like are so close and so genuine all the time? It's like, isn't everybody? That's what we thought. It's like, this is not just how everybody is all the time. It's like, no, it's like, it's pretty nuts. So we didn't even think that it was different. We thought it was like, this is how people should be. This is how their friendship should work. But it's like, why make it more difficult than it is? Like, if you're feeling mad or sad or angry, let's talk about it. Let's have some fun. What am I I told Makena this on our first date. It was my roommate, his name's Alex. He had this idea that we're starting off where once a month or throughout the month, you put in a piece of paper into this mason jar of just like good, bad, ugly, whatever it is. And then at the end of the month, we open a bottle of whiskey and we talk about what happened throughout the month, like the good, the bad, the ugly, and just see how, if we can process it and see like what's going on and see how we can really help each other. And it's just like, my first thought with that was like, yeah, that's absolutely phenomenal. My other roommate, Donna, was like, yeah, absolutely. What are we waiting for? So it's like, there's no pushback on anything mental or emotional or anything. And that's what I can go to any one of my friends and be like, I'm having a hard time. And be like, let's talk about it. What do you need? No matter what, every single one of them, which is, I know, a blessing and something I probably take for granted more often than not, but it is something I thought was normal.
Have there been conversations about like setting boundaries in your friendships? I feel like, have there ever been times where you feel like you don't want to share everything, or I don't know. I'm just like, I'm trying to think about, are there ever challenges with that being too much?
But to flip that question though, Mal, like, do we feel like that?
I mean, no, I'm kidding. I mean, I guess
Mal's like, yes.
but I do feel like there are time periods in our friendship where like we're all just feeling like vulnerable out. I know that's not a word.
Yeah.
But I mean more like where it's sort of like I just don't feel like I'm so busy, I just don't feel like opening up and sharing everything right now.
The amount of times my friends and I just talk shit about each other is probably more than not. So more often than not, the vulnerability comes when we can sense it in each other or when someone brings it up. The other 99% of the time, it is roasting, making fun of each other, gaslighting each other about the littlest things. So it's a lot of, and I think that's what kind of makes it better, is this ability to like, we don't have to have a deep conversation every single day. Like, it's not necessary. It is fun and necessary overall in a relationship, but daily, no. Like there's a joke that I'll tell y'all maybe if you have me on again later. So I know my parents I know my parents are going to listen to this at some point, and I don't want them to know about that one joke, so we'll keep it for later.
Yay.
Okay. I'm excited.
It's pretty weird.
Is there anything that we haven't asked about, like masculinity wise, that you feel like it's really important for you to share, or that you like would like to talk about that you've learned?
I think masculinity has this, each person is going to have their own unique definition when it comes to masculinity, depending on culture, where you grew up, if it was taught to you from your parents, if it was learned via media or whatever it is. So I do think that the more we can talk about it, especially as like man to man, really, really will continue to progress the positivity spin on masculinity. Like I said at the beginning, it's like when you hear masculinity, you think toxicity more than likely. So the more it is talked about, I think the more we're going to be able to, I think for me, it's like as a man, it is much better to be able to go to my friends knowing that I have emotional support versus thinking that it's going to be me on my own, no matter what's happening. So I think the more, if any men or anyone's listening to this and you feel like you don't have that opportunity, it's like being vulnerable is such a strength and such a gift. I think it gets lost in masculinity a little bit. It's like the idea you can't be or anything like that. It's like the machismo kind of attitude is like, I can pick myself up by my bootstraps and figure this out on my own, which not a bad thing, but just no, it's like, I think having that support around you, it's like someone, you can pick yourself up by your bootstraps, but someone else can be there to kind of like support you up as well, I think is important for more and more people to hear.
I love that.
What do you think, like, what do you think? I have two questions. One, so you have like your core, like, people you grew up with, like people that you can like be super vulnerable with, and like that they will still love you, and like all of that. Like I feel like I have that too, but then it's always like I'm just like always in this like back and forth of like, Lara, like you have like the best connections ever, like you should be so happy with just everything that you have. And then also just being like, I still want to make new friends. Like I still want to have like new people in my life that I can be super vulnerable with, and like we can be really like open with each other. But it's like hard when I'm like, I think it's hard when maybe there's a roadblock of like I don't have that trust built in yet. But then also I'm like thinking about the roadblock that maybe for people who are pursuing more masculine friendships, like there's even more of a roadblock there, because it's like, one, this friendship is new, and like you may, if you're new to my life and you're more masculine presenting to me, what if you don't like vulnerability? Like what if that is not your thing? Like how do I like start? I don't know. I'm just like curious, like what is the key to like going about that friendship when it's like there are, I don't know, there's like roadblocks in general just for new friends, but then there's also new roadblocks because it's like there's all these thoughts in all of our heads about like what is masculine and what is not in a friendship. You know what do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. And I struggle with that in college as well, as that making male friendships, seeing what's happening. And recently my therapist and I did, I guess, core values assessment, where I did like hand pick like from a note card stack, like 10,000, it felt like, identify 5 core values. And the one that stuck out to me the most was openness, and just that ability to share if you want to share. And that's huge for me, is like the ability to share, find new things, try new things, be around a bunch of new people as well. So when I'm meeting somebody new, or at a party, or meeting like a coworker's partner, or whoever it is, and it's the first time meeting them, my first goal is, how can I make this person feel as comfortable as possible with me? And that's typically about asking questions about themselves. And if I can sense that's like the openness isn't there, then we'll talk small talk. How's your day? What do you do outside of work? I typically don't like to ask the work question, because it's kind of boring most of the time. So it's like, not saying their job is boring, but it's like that that's the first question everyone asks. What do you do? So there's more than that. There's more to someone than that. So asking what they like to do outside of work, and just trying to find any common ground. I used to be really bad at that, and just let them talk and talk and talk, and not express anything that I had to say as well. And when I started to find any common ground, anything on a relationship wise scale wise that we can connect on, I jump after it and I dive in, even if I don't know anything about it. And I try and get them to teach me something. And if I can get someone to teach me something, then I know that they are starting to open up, because then you can start to see them light up, and they're passionate about it, whatever it is, and their voice change and their inflection, everything about them starts to be a little bit different. And that may not happen the very first time I meet somebody, but typically I don't want to say I'm pretty good at it, but it's like, it's something I absolutely love, is to see someone open up about what they love. And it's just the coolest thing in the world, because then they come back to me for more about, it's like, hey, like, I know we were talking about this. I want to know more about you in terms of this kind of stuff. And it just becomes more and more of a friendship.
Would you ever be a therapist?
I tried. I was in a master's program at Colorado Christian for a couple of years. I did not like it.
I feel like informally you have a lot of the qualities that would be
my job really right now. I do a lot of help. It's like my job right now, I'm like a senior manager for leadership development. It's like I help people become managers and directors. I teach a lot of soft skills like emotional intelligence, time management, organization.
I told my therapist that, and she said, yep, he's basically a therapist.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Just like a corporate, more of like
corporate therapist.
Like a corporate.
Yeah. For maybe the people who need it the most, but won't say that they do need therapy. You're seeing those people.
Exactly. It's great. I love it a lot.
Wow.
Wait, Casey, what was your conversation with Makena that was what made her light up?
What made Makena light up?
Oh God.
There were a lot.
Good question, Mal.
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh.
Well, the first date,
so red right now. Go ahead.
I kind of like to challenge ideas a lot. So I took her to get coffee, and she said she doesn't drink coffee, but she will drink matcha. And matcha is disgusting. So I like, why on earth are you drinking that? So like that kind of thing, just like little slight making fun of somebody that got her going a little bit. And then the walk around Sloan's Lake.
It probably did get her going. Yeah.
Okay.
I need to be in a hole.
No, you're good. Keep going.
We're having fun. Keep going. Yeah.
A lot of talks about her story. I think the walk across Spain, I got to see her light up and talk about all the friendships he made of people from Canada and how they still connect every so often, and just seeing how like it was such an important and confident thing that she got to do was phenomenal. I think her college experience of traveling to all the different states and mixing it up, as like, I really, really love that. It's like what was cool about it is like we were walking around the lake and like we were side by side. So I had to keep like glancing over, and I got to see like every so often, like a big smile or something like that. And it's like, that's the best. It's like seeing somebody get so excited about what they're talking about. It's like, for me, is the greatest thing in the world. It's like a lot of my buddies love fishing. And so I get to see them light up. They're showing me a fish that they caught. And it's the genuine joy that they have is phenomenal. It's the greatest thing in the world. So seeing McKenna do that, and music a lot. We were sitting in the car jamming to music, and she's like, I didn't think anyone liked this stuff. I love this music. Whatever you're playing has been phenomenal so far. Oh, and hungover ramen at Linger. You really lit up for that one too.
Yeah, ramen was good. It was good ramen. Yeah.
I'm overwhelmed.
I'm overwhelmed.
I'm a little sweaty.
All right, McKenna, same question to you. What made Casey light up?
Well, okay. I'm going to slide this over. I'm sorry.
Stop apologizing.
I think.
Thank you.
I think one thing I want to say is that, I mean, obviously you can tell from listening to Casey talk, but he's a great listener, but he's a very thoughtful listener. And I think I've never, one, had a man provide that space, like purely just in like level one. And then two, I think I've never even met a person who is like willing to learn about, I think, what other people are interested in. Like when I sent you like someone's Instagram account, you like read a few of their posts and were like, I like this one. Like, this is a cool post that this person made. And I think like there's a lot of thoughtfulness behind what you do. And I think that takes a lot of effort. And I think that is a very unique kind of trait to have, and one that is like very, very cool. And so I just feel like I want to recognize that that's like, I don't know. I just have never met like another person, even like taking masculinity out of the conversation. Like, I just don't think like I've met a better person who like does that and has like a true, genuine curiosity about other people.
Shout out my parents.
No, but like that's
what they do for me though.
I know, but that's also you get to own that.
It's in the blood.
Yes.
Yeah, it's in the blood.
Of course, like
thing.
Thank you to the your parents. Like, they did a phenomenal job. But I also think that you forged a lot of that too through like your journey. Yeah. And what was the question? What made Casey light up?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for sure, talking about your friends.
Yeah.
I feel like when you're talking about your friends and like stories behind your tattoos, I think.
Oh yeah.
And like those are the biggest ones. And then I feel like anytime that like, I feel like when we found something like mutually that we connected on, I think that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have any words.
It used to be like I still kind of do get made fun of for this, but it's like sometimes I'm not even around for something that happened, and I tell the story like I was there, first person, and it doesn't have anything to do with me. It's like normally my friends. It's like I get excited about stuff like good things that happen to them. So it's pretty fun.
That's how you experience everything in the world, is you just take everyone else's experiences and you say, this is mine too.
You know what? You're absolutely right.
I can be a part of it.
And I will say, so Lara and I went to a concert with you and your friends.
Yeah.
And that was that the second time I saw you? No, third time.
Third time.
And Lara and I both walked away truly, genuinely being like, who are these people? Like,
yeah,
what water are they drinking to like be such, like, you guys were also such unique individuals, but like very kind and just like the most genuine.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's telling to like who you keep, like who your company is. I think that's a really powerful thing to know about someone. And I think you keep really great company.
But I think that also, like, it's telling of that 100%, but it's also showing like why is that, why walking away from that concert was I like, I'm suspicious, like what's going on here?
And to be completely honest, I feel like for like I feel like sometimes with you even still, I'm like, all right, hit me with the red flag, like, where is it? It's gonna land sometime soon. But I just think that
I don't think it's like common to meet people, especially when you meet them for the first time, and have them just be like, this is me, like, we like vulnerability, and we are like, I just feel like I'm what I feel when you're talking about like your relationship with your friends, or like how you talk when you first meet someone. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's just kind of being like, this is what I do because I'm emotionally intelligent, and I like say it with my chest. Like I'm like I stand tall in doing that, where I feel like sometimes like it's easier to just be like, yeah, I like talking about feelings, but haha, it's fine if not. Like it's like kind of like a little bit under like an umbrella. Whereas like it's so refreshing to meet people who are just like, what? Like, what? This is life. What? Do you know what I mean?
We're all about digging deeper, so we won't take it for face level or surface level. Like it's we can read each other pretty well at this point. It's like we all know each other, where we know if somebody's lying or not expressing how they actually feel about a certain situation. So we just call them out on it, and it makes it a lot easier. And the calling out has started to get less and less and less.
You're calling in.
Calling out. They're calling in.
Yeah, you're calling them into the conversation.
Oh,
it was kind of a joke.
We're calling them out.
Okay.
No, it's definitely, and it goes both ways. Like it's not just me calling everybody out. It's like it's goes both ways. Like my buddy Zane and his fiance Lindsay, she is so good at that, especially at me. Like she could call me out left, right, and center. She's phenomenal. I love that.
Yeah, I also think that with the vulnerability too, I feel like when I kind of come to you with a pretty vulnerable thing, I feel like not only is it heard, but I feel like you have the capability to meet me, I think, with an equally vulnerable thing.
Yeah. Well, it's give and take, right? So it's something I really struggle with, was like letting everyone tell me what they're really vulnerable with, and then not expressing how I was being vulnerable, expressing anything.
The mirroring.
Yeah. So I like really have taken a big stride to like just tell people what's going on in my life, good and bad. Like the more I do that, the more vulnerable everybody else is too. Got to give and take.
Yeah. All right, we ready to wrap, friends?
Yeah.
Bedtime.
Let's wrap it.
Yeah, bedtime for Mal Mal.
Yeah. Does anyone else want to close?
No, you got this.
It's all me. First, I guess, do you have anything you want to add that we haven't touched on?
Thank you all for having me on here. I really appreciate you wanting to hear a different perspective and a different voice, and you all are obviously creating a really important and good platform here. So the more voice you get on here, the better. I appreciate you.
Oh my
Casey, I give you a
gosh.
10 out of 10.
All
Yeah.
right.
A plus.
The
Good
exciting
ratings all
news is
around.
that by the time that this comes out, Mal and Casey will have met in person.
It's true. We'll have spent a whole day together.
Can you believe it?
I know. I
Exciting
literally
times.
texted Ryan during this episode and I was like, Ryan, I need you to come to Boulder.
No.
Get on a flight, Ryan. We'd love to have you.
You'll meet all the toxicity parts of me in real life.
Yeah, Makena's been hiding all of them.
Oh, man. All right. Well, Casey, thank you for coming on.
Welcome.
We appreciate you. You are more than welcome to plug your Instagram if you want.
Yeah.
All right. Good luck finding him, guys.
Yeah. Casey Q, yo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know
You'll
there's a
find it.
Q in there somewhere.
There's big Q.
All right. Thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate it. And this was very fun, even though I was a little nervous. You weren't nervous at all, which is great.
Until the spice question, and then
Yeah,
you got a little
thanks,
nervous.
Mal. The spice
Yeah.
question threw me off.
Yeah. I did say, I will publicly say, I think that Casey has been the first person I met that could rival Mal's digging deep question skills.
No, I got the vibes.
Yeah. So I think we're in for like a haul on our
Quite a
drive to the
Buckle up
mountains.
for
Yeah.
Boulder.
Our
Yeah.
drive to the mountains is going to be, heavy
It's
hitters.
gonna be crying the whole
Yeah,
time.
but maybe we'll both turn on you, McKenna. And it
Oh,
will-
That's fun.
Mal, now we're cooking.
All right, everyone.
Lara's like crying that she's not gonna be
Yeah.
there for this.
No, at first I was like, you guys better not hang out without me, but now I'm scared of whatever that drive is going to be.
Yeah, because there's
So I'm
a
like,
lot to unpack
goodbye.
with you, Lara.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, everyone, we'll see you next week. And that's all I have for today. Thanks, Casey.
Bye-bye.
Welcome.
Bye.
Hasta luego.
Bye.